Call the meeting to order, the Griggs County Commission, 2:30. April 5th, 2019. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda as presented?
David would like to get on the agenda and speak to the changes in payroll. Like you brought something up and you'd like to ask us some questions.
Okay.
What's David got to do with payroll?
How his payroll is accounted for. He must have.
Oh,
Yep,
So if you could message him that he's
absolutely.
going to do that.
Should we just do that after Travis?
sure.
So about 4 o'clock.
I had a couple of emails from Mara Campbell. And of course it has to do with Wes running around town talking about us cutting his budget when we haven't talked about the budget yet. But she asked me what the budget calendar was. So she's not on your list to get these things?
No,
She's not, huh?
Caitlin is. Or Maddie
Okay,
Sexberg.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forwarded her this today.
Okay.
Because you got the calendar in there, so she had to know what the plan is with the budget. I assume that's why she was asking me questions. Well, I know all this. She told me it was.
Oh.
But I wonder if so she's the editor, isn't she?
I think so, yeah.
I think we should put her on the mailing list,
Okay.
on the notice list.
Okay.
Because maybe they would have some interest in coming to these meetings if she knew about them.
Okay.
I guess that's not on the agenda, but
Mara Campbell, right?
correct. Do you have her email address?
I think so. I think I'll find it though if I don't.
mcampbell at ncppub.com.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Now, the people on that email list, do they get the whole packet?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good enough.
Otherwise, they can go on the website and then just get the notifications.
Sure.
Yep.
Anything else for the agenda?
To approve the agenda.
Been moved by Dale to approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll look at the March 8th meeting minutes next.
Those are the ones that you asked me to go back and figure out when you guys talked about the mailboxes, and that was on the future business. So I got that added to those minutes.
Okay. That's right, we didn't approve these last
Yep.
time.
Move to approve March 8th minutes and dispense with the reading.
Been moved by Sean to approve the March 8th minutes as is presented and dispense with the reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. March 22nd, meeting minutes.
Which one are we on?
22nd,
22nd.
Okay.
page 5 and 6.
Yeah, so page 6. I think we should be a little more specific. First paragraph halfway down, motion by Stefan to advertise for bids for gravel and open on the 26th of April. I think we should reference the actual project.
Bids for gravel, okay.
That's just for the Hannaford project? It's not for the whole county?
That was just for the Hannaford project.
Okay.
So I think
Todd?
we should reference, actually, I think we should reference the number and the project number, correct?
Yeah, I think it's mentioned.
Because it just seems like we're we might get.
Is that
people-
that same project that's just a little bit down?
No, that's a seal coat, the one down, isn't it?
CNOE, CNOC, 26,058 is the gravel.
Oh, that
Yeah.
is a gravel.
That is the gravel, okay.
Yep,
Okay,
So
so I
same,
just,
same project number then.
so I just need to add that up here, okay,
yeah. And you could put parentheses Hannaford Road,
okay,
and then so people know what we're talking about here.
perfect.
Otherwise, you might be getting a bunch of phone calls, people wanting to get the bids for providing gravel over the.
Right. Okay. Insert right there. Okay, good.
And then on the old courthouse, there was discussion on what the commission would like to do going forward. I think it should be concerning preservation / demolition.
Okay,
So at least everybody knows we're weighing the possibilities.
regarding preserving and or demolition?
Yeah.
Should I do that?
Yeah, preserving / demolition. I
Okay,
think we should- is
slash.
what because we've been instructed to
Perfect,
take it down.
perfect.
An old new courthouse too, it should probably read. Commissioner Eunice spoke with the Dean of Architecture from NDSU. Rather, it looks like it's two different things.
Right.
Architecture
Okay.
Dean and NDSU.
Okay. Perfect.
And then I think we should clarify, Chairman Olson opened the floor to discuss future business. There was a discussion on the 2018 audit. There was also discussion on the Griggs County property within the city limits and post office boxes. I think we should put in placement of post office boxes in the courthouse lobby.
Are they in there yet?
No,
No, they still haven't called me back about that, so. She thought that she was gonna have a meeting April, I think 16th, 17th, or 18th, something like that, so hopefully we'll know something by your guys' next meeting regarding that.
well, it has to go all the way to the Inspector General.
It's gotta go somewhere.
I emailed Trump about it.
He's on it. No job too big or too small.
Fishers get the wall contract, maybe can work it in on that deal.
Okay.
Hi, Scott.
Hi, guys. Hey, Scott.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Scott.
Hi. Okay.
Your turn.
I'd move to approve the March 22nd minutes.
Been moved by
as
Sean
clarified and amended.
to approve the March 22nd meeting minutes as amended. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Was there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let's take a look at the meeting from last Friday, March 29th. This was the Township Officers Association annual meeting, but 4 of us were there, so, no, 3 of us.
So
4 of us.
Chairman Olson reported to the township officers on social services joining with Nelson County and the benefits that had on Griggs County. I just think it should probably say the best as possible to Griggs County. And then I don't think you reported on the increasing value of agricultural land that was David.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but
Okay.
I mentioned it when, because I don't know, I mean, David reported that they were going up 3 to
Right.
5%, but I don't know that he said that we were forced to do it. I think I
Well,
made
according to you, according to the account here, neither did you.
well, that was my point.
I think it should say that we were not in favor of it.
Should there be something in there with David's?
did you want me to put on? I just did what you, when
No,
you
that's
guys spoke.
Probably not,
Probably not.
because I don't think it was a.
It wasn't our meeting,
Oh,
Yeah.
just,
But it
Because they'll
says
do their own minutes,
He
so
also
then that would be,
reported on the increase in value of agricultural land.
that the commission is not in favor of.
Well, I guess we don't know if we're in favor of it, we haven't ever had a formal vote.
and we haven't increased it.
Right.
you can leave it the way
Some
it is.
change,
I'm not-
talk about potential changes in valuations of ag land or something like that.
Well, I mean, you could put, he also reported on the state of North Dakota's
Railroading,
proposition or guidance in increasing the value of Griggs County agricultural land. However you wanna word that.
Is that how you would like me to word that?
Well, he also reported on the state of North Dakota increasing value of agricultural land in Griggs County. It's not us that's doing it, yet. He also reported on the state of North Dakota increasing value of agricultural land in Griggs County.
Okay, anything else?
Go.
Scott, are you supervisor down in Sturdup Township?
Yep.
Wayne needs to talk to you.
What?
I'll make a motion to approve the March 29th minutes as presented and amended.
Been moved by John to approve the March 29th special meeting minutes as amended. Is there a second to the motion?
second.
Second by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, move on to the bills. There's one additional bill in here from Dell Marketing. It's to the State's Attorney's Office, and it is a software licensing fee for Acrobat Pro. It's an Adobe program.
$187.06.
I don't know what I mean, Acrobat Pro must be a better version of Adobe than what we get for free. Some of them you can go in and edit existing documents and stuff like that. And usually the free version, I don't think you can do that. So, anything else? And I didn't see anything in the rest of these that was out of the ordinary, is there?
Nope.
Which was?
In these?
Page 8, I just had a question.
Okay.
We're partway down, road repairs, $262.49, a negative, and it added back into the balance.
Where are you looking?
Oh, I saw that.
Road repairs.
What vendor?
Uh,
Card member services. Was that a bill that had been paid that got,
Yeah.
Looks like there was a
And
credit.
then we returned the
you returned a part?
part.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what you credit,
It
okay.
was for Verizon, so we could get cell coverage in there for them that didn't work. Travis got some stuff for us.
Okay.
You end up buying the cell booster, you mean?
Yeah. This was kind of like a cell booster, but because it was inside the building, it still didn't.
You got
Steel
a,
building didn't.
you put an external antenna on
We
there?
didn't have an external.
What are those called? I got two of them in my yard.
Travis will know.
It don't matter.
So then we must have had some more of them. Next page, page 9, there's a $140 credit, and then farther down, road supply, there's a $49.49 credit.
Yep.
Wilson Electronics, I think, makes those things.
Do you want to see
What
those?
was it?
Wilson?
Yeah. that's right.
Yeah, I'd like this, what's the other one? Would you return something else, Wayne? Road supply is $49.49 on page 9.
John Deere.
Okay. And
John Deere.
John.
CA miscellaneous.
$40. That was a credit in the county agents.
Oh. Okay. We overpaid them somehow?
Yeah, something got screwed up or whatever. Connie got it all figured out.
Several months past, we declined a payment of like Mercy Healthcare. Did that ever sort itself out?
I haven't received word back. We submitted a thing to not pay, like that they would just forgive it all, and I haven't heard anything back. I've asked both Wes and Jamie if they've heard anything back, and they haven't. So we're gonna wait
They're
it
just
out.
gonna turn us over to the collection.
Hopefully, we'll hear.
Probably.
Then you'll hear.
That's kind of strange.
I didn't hear a thing. I didn't hear that. Yeah, we'll forgive it. I didn't hear no, we won't. So
Anything else in the bills?
Move to approve the bills as presented.
Moved by Sean to approve the bills as presented. Is there
are
second?
you
to
adding
that?
this one?
With the addition of that one?
The second,
Dell
Dell
Marketing.
Marketing for $187.06.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John? Dale? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. I forgot to take roll. Mark's not here.
Thank you.
Just thought of that now when I was doing a roll call vote. Okay, monthly office reports. I called Tom Dahl on this TB04 because I couldn't quite tell what was happening, and he told me that they're getting real close to letting the bids on that thing. So I think they're waiting for one more permit, right? 404, something.
I'm not
I
sure.
thought it said in here that one was true.
408 is in. Tony, I think, is working on the other one.
Oh yeah, the 408 is done.
All right. Any questions on the monthly office report?
Um, I requested it before, I don't see it in here. I'd like to see the sheriff's department's daily logs become a permanent monthly office report. There's no reason that we can't have those. The private citizen can have them. All they have to do is request them in open meeting law as required. So if you'd make that request again to the sheriff's department. A little more urgently this time.
Anything else?
We could approve the office reports as presented.
Been moved by Dale to approve the office reports as presented. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Wayne?
Page 24 in your packet, it's a letter from City of Bedford Mayor and Ken Gilbertson, Lennis Edlin, Federal Bus Service, Sarah Bilden, and Dakota School Superintendent. And they're requesting the center lines be painted on County Road 8, east and west from Bedford, the county line. They haven't been put on there, I think, since the last time we chip sealed it, probably. So they're getting pretty faded. I talked to JJ and J&J Striping out of Carrington. So I called Nate Munson, he's the road superintendent in Washoe County. He gave me the cell number and he said they're in a chip seal from McHenry to the county line this summer or spring.
Okay.
And they're gonna have J&J paint
Okay.
their stripes. So I called J&J Striping and asked if he could give me a quote for those 8 miles, or a little over 8 miles, and he hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I said, would it work for you to do that? He said, yeah, it would save me a trip So when he does, after their chip seal, then he'll paint all the way past Binford.
Cause we gotta do that Sutton Road too, right? Or where else we chip sealing?
So we chip seal the Sutton Road,
Oh, yeah.
that'll be,
So that's gotta get striped this
that'll
summer.
be striped, and we don't know who's gonna do that yet, right? Is that in on the contract?
Morris is the prime, but I don't know who their sub is.
Yeah.
Oh, they hire the striper, okay.
So I guess probably, should write a letter back to them, should I, say notify them? Of our plans, it's in the plans to
I suppose.
paint it. Okay. And I've got new bridge inspection reports. And there should have been a copy to you guys, or a letter, I believe. I just got a CC. But then I got the bridge reports, and of course that Decker Bridge, we'll call it, it's not the right number for it, but, so we're code 3. So we need your updated structure information no later than July 15th, 2019. Nothing that I saw had changed in the report of it.
It's still in the same condition,
Yeah, I don't know if they measured, like we had KLJ go out there and they
right?
measured the length and stuff from,
Well, we're gonna have KLJ do that every year, right?
yeah, I don't know if we have to vote on that or,
Wasn't that the discussion we had last time when we had KLJ go look at it?
just to keep on with monitoring it, I think.
Right.
I think we had so much left in the task order from the previous year that we just did it under that one.
I see.
Sean Mayfield is moving to Rapid City though, so I'm not sure.
Oh,
We might have to have Wade or another day do it.
so that bridge down there by my place, that thing looks like it's gonna melt into the riverbank or into the river channel. Have you been down there
I
lately?
haven't been down
I mean, don't go down there now, the road isn't very good, according to somebody, I haven't driven down there, somebody told me yesterday that that road's really tough right now because the snow is melting off the hill and going across the road.
there.
But just from my being around there last summer and stuff,
Yeah.
is there gonna come a time when we're gonna be forced to do something with
Should
that
be
thing?
taken out of there, I think.
I mean, the fishermen are walking across there yet, but I don't know if they should be.
Yeah. I often thought it would be nice to have got like just a walk bridge, you know, but I mean, like, I think the guys in Finley, I think, or Hope, I think they make some type of a bridge, you know, deal, but.
You mean in the golf course there? Oh, at
Yeah, that's,
Makata. Oh, I see.
I've
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
seen like a small bridge there, you
Sure.
know, with an arch, kind of, that they must have made for somebody or something, but
And I don't remember.
it's pretty long though, this one would be.
Yeah, I don't remember how much water gets up on that road. Maybe it don't flood there
Doesn't flood too much right there, I don't think.
on the
Deep
road
there.
itself.
Bank, you know. Or maybe it goes towards your place.
Oh yeah, it goes. It'll
Because it-
the whole field below my house will be underwater if it floods hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just thinking, is it going to be worse to get it out of there if it falls in there all the way than it would be before it falls in there? I mean, maybe after it gets nice out, drive down there sometime and see what you think.
I don't know if somebody with a big track hoe could
Drag it out of there. I don't know.
drag it out of there. Know what it weighed,
pretty heavy, I bet.
you know.
It'll just end up down to the west or to corner, where the river turns there,
Yeah.
end up on the bank and then cut it up later.
I mean, that's an option too.
Yeah, and that's just where it's gonna go when ice pushes
Yeah.
it there.
Okay.
Get it far enough, it'll be a
Are you-
railroad bridge
Are you
across
guys
that
started
street.
blading?
Yeah.
How's it? Is that going pretty good?
Pretty good. You know,
I see they were retrieving up in Nelson County, that county road all the way from Macville to the county line. I don't know if you guys got retrieving to do too or not.
We've got the retriever hooked up to the
Yeah.
tractor, just kinda waiting for this soil to get, you don't want it too wet.
Right.
You know.
And it seemed like, it depends, each road is different, but they were getting mostly gravel and it wasn't sloppy. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, Jake has got several roads he wants done, I know.
Okay.
So, yeah. Working on it. Oh, update on that motor grader. Got a call yesterday from RDO. The motor, they decided it was the motor in the front wheel. It was bad. There was a valve stuck in there, but rather than try to replace the valve or whatever, and they didn't know if they could get parts, they were gonna replace the whole thing. Back ordered. Yesterday he calls me, he said, yeah, I found out, probably won't be here till May 15th.
Bring us a different one.
We got one up here, we brought one up here, but said the one you got is sold to somebody else. So, so he's working on something I said, well, don't you have a machine you could take the motor off and put on ours or something somewhere? I said, so I haven't got any answer yet back from that, but Jake is using that machine. It's the GP, it's a joystick, which he doesn't care for.
Maybe you'll get used to it and like it.
Maybe. Oh, and the other ones, we changed oil on the other ones and everything, all the wings and stuff are on, it's off, so. We have the 2 real estate purchase agreements between the city of Benford and between Lansing United Edmund, and I think you've signed it already. So I turned it over to Jamie to,
Somebody needs to set up a closing and get the abstract work done and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I can get to work on that.
You're gonna prepare the warranty deeds?
I'll prepare the deeds. I'll have to find someone to do the abstract work. I've never done anything.
No, you wouldn't wanna do the abstract work. But
my
you
opinion.
have to round the abstracts up and get them to the abstractor and get them
Yeah.
updated.
Yeah, I'll get to work on that next week.
okay, I'll give it to you after. And I think we talked about, we had that meeting with the DOT, 3 DOT members, Paul and I did a phone conference on closing out the bridge project. And there was a few things that we hadn't done according to regulations as far as right of way. I don't think we may have.
But Wayne, we didn't do it any different than we did it with that Odegaard crossing, and what's the difference? Is there a new law
The
or
difference
what?
is that this is federal money. This is a
I see.
federal funding, partially federally funded. And then they have these big books. This is a federal book, and it describes in there the procedures you're supposed to do, which we didn't know about this beforehand, but I think the only thing is they were wondering if, like, Jamie had any correspondence with
Munson's?
Munson, as far as setting up a time to meet with her. I think you were once talking about, and then she'd gone back to California or something.
No, she just signed the easement.
Right.
Back to California.
So I missed something.
May Munson's in the nursing home in Cooperstown, North Dakota. I went and talked to her.
Leona?
Huh?
Leona?
Oh, I'm lost.
That's who signed it, and it's stamped.
No, I was asked to secure an easement, and
Okay.
that's all that was ever talked about in that
Joseph
meeting.
Blanchard, Notary Public, California Commissioner, Kern County.
Okay.
So I'm missing something. I guess I wasn't paying attention. This is about a project we did already?
Yeah,
It's the bridge.
the box culvert,
Box
5
culvert.
miles east and a mile north of Cooperstown here.
Okay.
So that one, we designed it, we surveyed it, did the plat for it. but the county decided was gonna, or did the, Jamie got the easement for the bridge, for the area for the bridge to be built in, which, you know, I guess if this project wouldn't have been selected by the DOT to do a detailed project management review, which they go through this whole 15-page checklist of everything, I mean, from right of way all the way environmental.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys want to take a look through that, but
And that's why we hired you.
yeah, I guess, and these things are
So,
really detailed.
If, this might be a problem, and guess what?
Well,
It's not Griggs County's problem.
Right, I mean-
It's KLJ's problem.
I remember being asked to secure an easement, but I'm sure as hell not gonna work on a federal project. That's what the engineering firm's
That's what the
for.
engineer is from, so this.
Well, and that
so-
wasn't in our scope on this project. The contract specifically excluded any right-of-way acquisition. We were just designing the bridge. And then
You did all the permits?
the permits, yeah, that's environmental, that's part of the design.
And if I remember right, the request for the easement was brought to us by KLJ.
I think once we got further in design and knew that we needed one,
Yeah. Again, if this doesn't, and so did this happen in a transition between our prior engineer and when you took over? Is that how this got, somehow this got dropped? I mean, let's,
Well, when Jake was our
Yeah.
engineer, he said, usually the local authority does the right-of-way requisition, or acquisition.
Well, that's fine.
Huh?
they do.
That's fine.
Yep. So, but now these say that you have to offer, either to have it appraised, see what the value is, or the county can have a set fee for any right-of-way acquisition. Like they have $500, I think is what the state uses.
they bumped it up a few years back from,
We wouldn't have to do that much. One of the guys said, well, you could do $300, whatever.
But that's the water under the,
Yeah, what
Bridge.
do we need to do to fix it, I guess?
So that's what we're trying to find out. We don't know. They didn't really tell us.
so I guess I talked to Kent Lieben, he's their environmental guy for local government division of DOT, which is basically who the counties talk to for their federal aid projects. And all of our environmental documents go through him, and he was, you know, a big part of this review process. And I guess he just asked us to get a copy of any notes that the county has that back and forth with that Leon Munson, just or even just a summary of the conversations that were had, just so they know what they're going to bring to their internal right-of-way group down at DOT at Bismarck before they talk to Federal Highway, which they might have a better course of action that could fix it easy. Which I don't know if that means having,
What
go
actually
through-
needs to be fixed?
well, so here's the right-of-way checklist. I kind of went through and marked it up. The yellow things are the things that haven't been done, and that probably should have. And that's
So,
just, basically it's.
I guess
filling
I'm
out a
gonna
few
say my
forms.
recollection of that is, Jamie, can you prepare an easement for this? And I said, yes. And I didn't even contact her.
It's not your problem. The very fact that there's a right-of-way checklist and our engineer just handed it to us designates that it was
Well,
his
and that was
problem
out
to
of-
do that.
Well, that was out of our
till
scope.
that meeting.
That wasn't part of what we were contracted to do.
Then I'm afraid we don't have to.
then.
Then I think we're gonna have to talk to the people that we actually contract with, which is KLJ, and we have to bypass you on this. Because if you're not willing to take responsibility for this, it certainly isn't within our realm to do that. That's why we hire an engineering staff to do it. It's not within Jamie's, it's not within Wayne's. You are hired for the purpose of shepherding us through this process. And again, the fact that you have the document, the checklist indicates that it didn't get done correctly.
Well, I looked it up after the meeting that we had with DOT.
Probably should have looked it up before the meeting.
Well, I guess, like Troy says, water under the bridge. If we can get it fixed, we can get it fixed. I don't have any notes.
I mean,
don't-
how many omissions are there?
Well, so you fill out the several forms. One's a negotiator report and a ownership contact. So that's basically just a list of the conversations you had with them. You give them a memorandum of offer and a memorandum of agreement. So basically you're saying, this is what we're offering. Well, if they're donating it, I don't know if that's relevant or not even. But then the notification and appraisal waiver form, that's where you're offering them to receive just compensation. And I just filled this out after the fact, just to help out here.
Well, is Kent Lieben and talk that needs to be contacted. If it's something that was donated, that's probably not even something we have to go through, like he said, so I'll contact Kent Leben
I
and.
mean, we're
see.
talking about a few $100s here.
Yeah, basically, yeah, and if they offer, and if they agree to donate it, they can do that, that's one of the selections on the form. But the state, you know, I guess their interpretation of the rules, and maybe, I haven't got into the regs, I don't know anything about the laws about it, I just follow their checklist on the projects that we've done before where it has been part of our scope. You know, we do acquire right of way on other projects when it's part of what our job is.
I'm really getting angry about this not your job part of it. And if it isn't your job and it was left out of the project, then shame on you and shame on us. But I'll guarantee you that the next time that KLJ comes up for consideration to be our engineer, I am going to vehemently oppose it. It's just as nonsense. You work for us.
Okay, here's an email to Jamie, stamped right-of-way plat is attached to the Drawbridge, and this is, if you need any changes to landowner information, please let me know and we can change the plat. To submit final plans on time, we will need to have a signed right-of-way document by February 2nd. Give me a call today if you want to discuss. I will be out of the office between 8 and 10, 11 to 12:30. This is from Jake. Utility company is willing to pay a portion, if not all the cost, to move or slash lower, because prior to this, the utility company said they weren't responsible for anything with this bridge coming in. But now they have changed their view and they are willing to move it, lower it with no cost to us. As far as the right-of-way, if there are currently no official records of right-of-way in our project area, probably makes sense to get the right-of-way on file. So there are no questions later. If you disagree, please let me know. Thanks, Jake. From Jake to Jamie on the January 10th. Give me a call when you're free. To Jamie, 8th, from Jamie, I should be available tomorrow. So, we should talk about how to proceed with the utility easement. The commission would like your insight on whether or not we should get an official right-of-way document signed, and also what we should do as far as the pay / not paying for the utility easement. Thanks, Jake Loggery.
I remember those discussions in the meeting. You know, it was 1.2 acres or something.
Yeah, Jake, I'm out of the office today for CLE classes today. I'll try to take a look at this today and get in touch with you, and that's January 18th.
I think the ball got dropped somewhere in transition between Jake.
Are there any consequences, or are they just
Yeah.
doing a review?
We don't know yet.
There might be.
We're
It
trying
would be
to, well,
withholding
and I
of,
think the DOT is trying to work with us and help us out getting this done, however it needs to happen, whatever we need to do to document it. I don't,
Just
They're
have
trying
to
to-
feed the bureaucracy.
they're trying to get it fixed somehow before the federal looks at it.
This is the state guys
They
trying
haven't
to help.
looked at it.
They're
Just-
helping.
yeah, the state guys are trying to help us get through it.
Okay.
And
Well.
that was how they, you know, that's how it was framed in the review.
Yeah. Hopefully they help.
So, I guess
If Jamie can talk to, that'd be great.
Did you talk to those people, the Munsons?
I never did.
You just mailed them an easement? and they
No,
signed it?
Jake had talked with him, it's my understanding.
Oh, so we don't know what the conversation
No,
was.
it's my understanding that Jake talked with him.
Yeah, we instructed, because after we did the one up there, when Troy went and got it, then we instructed Jake to go get these easements. I mean, I don't know how it was in the scope of the contract when the engineer was in charge of it.
Well, if,
Really,
if
I-
I'm hearing Paul right, when this thing started, it didn't need to be in the scope of the project, and when the design was taking place, the scope should have changed. Because once there was a right-of-way involved, or an easement involved, then that should have been part of the project.
It was, the very fact that the
Right.
KLJ went out and negotiated.
I agree with
the
you.
easement.
And that might have happened just to make sure that that was in place before they did, but, because so when I came on in March, late March, I think is what the first meeting I came to, but I was kinda nervous about this one because I knew that there was right of way on it, and looked it up, and just did a quick search at Endred and found out that the deed had been recorded, March 9th, so.
Market,
So I
the
was,
easement.
right, so, yeah, the easement was recorded then, so I was like, just relieved that that had been done before Jake left. I
Right.
don't know how it got acquired, who had it signed, I just know that there's a notarized copy of it. But that's not, that easement document, I don't think that's something we prepared.
Well, you certainly,
possible.
you certainly provided the legal description.
Yes, we did.
I don't think
provided-
Jamie went and surveyed it.
No, but I provided the easement, and I have a letter that I wrote to her, in February of 2007,
2007.
or 2018, February 7th, 2018. Just stated that we're working on improving the road that borders the property and that we were requesting an easement. Give my number, give Jake's number, any questions, and that was all the correspondence that I have with her. I do believe there's some emails that Jake spoke with them.
Well, you guys get together and fix this thing. I don't,
Yeah.
we can't do it. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I guess, can I work with you, Jamie, to get that
Absolutely.
rounded up, at least? And that's what all the DOT is asking for, is a record of the
Okay.
conversation back and forth for now.
Okay.
We'll take it from there. And I think there was another deed that you were looking at, or an easement, that talked about the 75-foot strip that the county was supposed to have at the,
Well, that was the utility.
and it referenced like another
Yeah.
document. So, but I don't think, so I think the county actually had right-of-way out to 75 feet.
That's what it said, but we
That's correct, but we
But we
need
can-
couldn't find it.
It wasn't
Couldn't find it.
Yeah, it wasn't recorded, so, you know, I think everybody.
Whoever collected the easements for the county way back when never ever got them recorded.
Yeah.
We got lost, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not when you were in charge.
It burned down an old county shop.
I think it burned in that old county
Yeah.
shop.
Which is
And
just
Ramsey County
amazing.
had the same kind of thing, they had these construction and maintenance, that wasn't construction and maintenance, but construction right away easements or agreements, so basically the landowners all signed, but they, and some of them even signed in pencil and stuff back in the 50s on this county highway, was the last one I worked on, right away for, and so it was all good then, they could have recorded them then, but now that they have to be notarized before you can record, then basically they don't have any right of way, so we had to reacquire that same property. And that's what happened, I believe that's possibly what happened here.
I mean, they even questioned that we were able to put our box culvert over the utilities.
And, yeah, I remember that discussion too, they said.
These guys did.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, how could you allow that? Well, I said, after an email, it says they allowed it. They would help move it if they had to.
You have that email?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that'll answer a clear question.
I have an
That's
email
right.
For the, that's the
Jake.
utility stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for the utility, because they questioned that too.
Right.
Yep.
I have an email from Jake asking if I could get that easement signed. Leona Munson was in town for 2 days, February 1st and 2nd last year. And he asked if I could get it signed, so my understanding was to get an easement signed. It wasn't to go do any negotiating.
But you must not have caught up to her.
I didn't catch up to her, it got sent out to her.
Right.
We're conflating two issues here, guys. The regulations that we need to go by, we hired an engineer to do that.
Right.
The engineer requested that we physically go out and get it signed. That's different than being required to make sure that the signing that agreement met all the regulations of the.
I agree with you.
So this is not the firsthand, this isn't Griggs County's problem. This is KLJ's problem, although Griggs County is now tangled up in it.
Right, they'll fix it. So I think we should
Paul,
move on.
whatever we need to do to get it fixed,
Right.
I can figure it out. I mean,
Okay,
I'm available to help fix it.
Yeah, no, sounds great. Okay, basically just keep the back and forth conversations.
right.
Okay.
Everything, the gravel bids request.
I guess we'll gonna finish up with that project first, I guess. Okay.
When's that going out?
Should be in the paper.
We're opening in the 26th.
Opening, right.
Okay.
It should be in the paper now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess we can jump to that. The Hannaford Road, yeah, went out for bids today. It was,
Okay.
we posted it to Quest CDL online yesterday afternoon.
Okay,
And I checked to make sure it was there. It's in the paper. It should be in the paper today. I haven't got today's paper yet. And those will be in the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th, because they open on the 26th, and it has to be at least 2 weeks on the paper before bid. And the first one has to be at least 15 days ahead, so if you had to open it on a Friday, then you've gotta have it that third week.
okay.
So that's why it's in there now. Back to that box culvert, the DOT reviewed our final construction records. Everything checked was all good there. They're making the final payment to the contractor for that. So we should have one more reimbursement request for that local cost share.
Okay.
And then other than that, the project management review went well. Everything else was, we checked all the boxes and had all the dates and reports and everything.
Is there a lag between bid acceptance and when they can start on that Hanover project?
I guess we'd have to have a contract signed. I mean, we are taking the bids at 1 or 1:30.
Mm-hmm.
The commission meeting's at 2:30 that day, so we should be able to have a recommendation to you.
So when do the road restrictions usually come off?
Varies, it could be it's March, April, could be May sometime probably,
Normally.
because everybody's out farming, so
And a lot of times it'll go in stages. At the south of 200 or south of 94 will come off first, then up to 200. Sometimes it'll jump all the way to 2.
yeah.
North of 2 is last.
If it stays warm, it'll hurry up.
Yeah.
The frost
Typically-
comes out.
And August 5th was the end of
August 1st is what's advertised right now.
Yeah.
If
I
you
mean,
guys,
otherwise we're gonna run into harvest and have, you want some wild people, block that road up during harvest.
yeah.
I'm not gonna be happy.
Well, and then, I mean, and if you guys do it, I mean, we can put an addendum out if you guys did want to back that off. But August 1st is what's in there right now.
No, I mean, there's a lot of grain that comes from that way to that elevator on that road.
You know.
It's gonna be coming all summer though.
Huh?
There's a lot of grain out in the country. It's gonna be, I mean, that road's just gonna be busy.
Yeah, well,
We're just
it's-
gonna have to fix it.
Yeah,
I know,
I know,
it's just
but
the
I
way
mean,
it
if
is.
you really want it busy.
What's the name of that product that you're putting in that gravel?
Base one.
Piece one. Somebody asked me that and I couldn't tell them.
It's handled by Team Lab. Team Lab is the company, if you look that up.
Okay.
Then their office is in Detroit Lakes. At least I don't know if it's regional or how that works, but the one whoever I'm talking to is from there.
That road will probably be destroyed before we get it done.
What's that?
The road will probably be destroyed before we get it done. All the traffic will be on there.
Let's see. I guess on the Sutton Road chip seal, the NSF got the check that was reissued, and then luckily it went to the right person. She called the same person that I'd sent the application to before, and she just asked me to send the application documents again. So the check got there before the application did, but she's got it together now. Then the construction engineering proposals are due next Friday. So we'll know ours ahead of that. And I don't know if you have any, I guess, is there a committee gonna be reviewing those at that point, or then setting up interviews after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time it was Dale and John.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, I guess. My daughter was in the hospital.
But you were there on the phone.
Yeah.
For that Decker Bridge, did you want us to get a miscellaneous agreement together for that? I don't know, if this is gonna be going on for a few years, do you want us to do some sort of annual review of it or something like that? Just
How often is it prudent to look at those bridges every year or every 5 years?
I
Or?
think you have to every year.
Every year.
The code 3-1, Decker one.
Is there a document already that says that, or is it just, is there a limit to the number of years?
It was, had a dollar amount, And it took a little bit more than what a dollar amount was last year, but it wasn't enough more that it made sense to come back and ask for it.
Hoping the ice would take it down.
Well, I'll talk to our folks about that and see who's available to do it anyway.
Okay,
Bring it to you next meeting,
okay.
since we got till July to get back to DOT. That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Wayne? Seeing none, thank you, Wayne. Thanks, Paul.
You guys,
Griggs County Museum. Who's the spokesperson? Todd?
I guess I am today. Go ahead.
Huh?
We had a meeting Wednesday night, the Griggs County Historical Society, and we are aware of the property that the county owns on the fairgrounds. And we are interested in purchasing that if that is available. And that would consist of lots 7 through 12 of block
It's the
7.
orange stuff.
7 through 12 of block 2, 13 through 18 of block 2, and the vacated 13th Street.
Which is a street that would have gone through there if it, but there's a barn in the way now, isn't there?
Yes, that we have been told will be moved this summer. They long decided to move that horse barn. That won't be there.
What horse barn?
That little one that, kind of,
It's a two-story,
where they have the horse
horse show,
shows and
they
everything.
announce in the top part and the bottom part.
Oh,
is
yeah.
It's 12 by 12 or something.
Yeah.
About the size of a storage shed, right?
Yeah, that's what it is kind of now.
Oh, over by the horse arena.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
announcer station.
Yeah,
Judge-
the crow's nest or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. Would they have concessions underneath or
They
something?
did it.
Whose is it?
It does belong to the fair
Fair
board.
board, yeah.
And they basically said, you can have it if you want it, but we're not gonna keep it there any longer.
It's been damaged. What happened, what was the last couple of years ago, the foundation lifted up on it and put the walls out.
Oh,
So they have to, it's basically, to fix it, it costs too much to fix it versus building a new one.
and they don't use that arena anymore anyway, right? Was that the
They
Cheyenne?
use it in the 4-H deal. in the
They do?
farm. The farm, 4-H got the horse show there.
But that's where this is, right? That's this lot?
It's part of it,
Part of
yes.
it, yeah.
Okay,
We have no intention of displacing any county events
No.
sure.
or anything like that. We just felt that it might be good if we purchased all the county property on the fairgrounds.
Sure. Well, I'm sure not opposed to it, not personally anyway.
I was contacted by a fair board member and they'd like us not to sell it. They want to continue utilizing it and they'd like to come to agreement with the Historical Society on a shared use.
Yeah, and we tried to convey that to them, that we would not interfere in any of their events. We would work with them very much. I didn't know that there would be some opposition there, because we did meet with the fair board a week ago and said, well, it'll be business as usual for your horse show. We already own part of the Derby rink, and we've never said that we're gonna dislocate you there either. We actually wanna work with them and enhance their events.
That complicated things.
Yeah.
So can you put that in writing with them and get it signed by both of the parties?
Can we put both of them on the deed?
Tell Deb to start.
I guess I'd like to see them come to a
Yeah,
formal understanding with them, so.
in fact, our motion to
Yeah.
purchase this property, part of the motion was just that fact, that we would work with the fair board, not displacing them in any which way, and let them continue the events that they have in the past.
But we'll probably have to get that, some kind of something in writing and
Some
both parties sign
formal
it.
agreement, so that,
30 years down the road, there'll be a cat fight or.
Yeah.
So we probably should meet with them,
And just,
try to smooth it out.
Sounds like it. I don't really wanna open a can of worms if we don't have to.
no,
But there's,
I mean, it sounds reasonable, but just,
Right.
we just better,
I'm a little surprised to hear
T's
that
and dot
because
the I's.
Mark and I made a special event, you know, to go to a fair board meeting to say that we would not
Do that.
do anything like that.
well, you opened a can of worms.
I guess so.
I mean, it's, I'm not against it, but I suppose we better try to make sure everybody,
Yeah.
it's kinda like, if there's an agreement, then when all of us are gone, it'll still be there, otherwise it's gonna be somebody's memory, and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
I suppose we should meet with the fair board again before we,
Maybe,
Get something
kinda,
memorialized in writing and signed and,
yeah, and then I'm sure go forward after that. In my opinion, anyway.
yeah. Give them an easement, and remember to get it signed and a dollar sign on it.
The perpetual 99-year lease.
I take it you're not charging them anything, any years for using it as far as the 4-H or the horse shows?
We didn't know we owned
we
it.
didn't even know it was ours, Jim Todd.
Well, we,
The only reason that it ever came up was because we were wondering where the specials that the county was paying were paid.
$1,080 a year,
Right.
it was looked up.
Yeah, that's the only reason, I mean, the county, as far as I'm concerned, has no need or should be owning it, and if we can, if it go to a use between the fair board and the
Historic.
historical society, more power to it.
Well, we'll have to try to smooth that over, I guess, and we didn't realize that,
It doesn't need to be too complicated, I wouldn't think, just something. So,
So everybody's on the same page about it, so.
It's documented.
and when we had our meeting Wednesday night, we even had a fair board representative there to assure him that we would play nice.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
they must want assurance that future generations will play nice too. I'm guessing I'm just guessing, but.
Okay.
You
Right.
you guys don't look too trustworthy, I suppose that's
Yeah.
the problem.
Looked like you're up to something. Rats come out of the river when it's wet.
Thanks a lot. I have one more, Mark called me yesterday, one more time, and he asked you guys about in the old courthouse, there you got those air conditioning units,
Yeah,
all that. You know, what he asked, he's not here to do that, but see what your opinion is on it, if you could, we could use them take them out of your courthouse and put them in the veterans wing in the museum.
those split.
Those mini splits.
Mini
They're kind of like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
just
like
like
we had
those.
in our meeting rooms?
Yep.
Yeah, like those.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should donate as many as they need to the veterans and let.
Have you
them know.
talked to a HVAC guy to see if they're worth
That's what we're gonna
doing?
do next, when we talk to Brian.
That's what I would do, because if they're just AC units, I don't think they're very expensive.
No, but.
So, it might-
Those split units are about $2,500. I just had to put one in the apartment last
Yeah,
year.
if they heat as well, they're about $3,500.
God, they used to be cheaper than that, but.
Yeah. But I mean, we,
And that was a recent.
You know, I don't care, but just make sure that it don't cost you more to move a used piece of machinery than buy a new one.
Are there 3 of them up there?
There's 6 total, I guess.
Yeah.
There's 6.
There's 6.
There's some in the courtroom as well.
Courtroom too, yeah.
Yep. There's, I think 4 in the courtroom, 1 in the commissioner's chambers, and then 1 downstairs.
We do have plans to air condition some of the other original buildings of the museum where they would come into use too. You know, then we don't have to run the dehumidifiers all the time. We run the air conditioners, it's to keep the artifacts a little better
Right.
shape.
I make a motion that we donate the split units to the Veterans Association.
To the Veterans Association or the Historical Society?
Well, it's a veterans room in there, isn't it?
Supposed to, yeah, it's,
Well, there'll be some other ones too.
Well, however the split works, I mean, however many go to veterans, and however many go to the Historical Society. The Historical Society is part of the county anyway.
that's right.
So that really isn't a donation, it's just a use of
Transfer would be cool.
county property, right?
Transfer of funds.
The only thing you'll have to plug the hole that wherever they go.
The line set.
Yeah. I'd make that motion, and whatever they can use, because they're just gonna deteriorate where they're at.
Right. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Sean and Dale. Guess we don't need to vote now.
Which one?
Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you, guys.
Yep.
I guess we'll meet again.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you guys.
Sorry.
in a couple weeks or so. So,
Okay.
Don't twist any arms or rough them up trying to get this sign.
I'll have to watch Scott. Thank you.
5-minute break.
Is that a motion? Been moved by John that we take a 5-minute recess. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Call the meeting back to order. Travis.
You guys had some questions on some time clock software. Social Services is using a company called Pay Stubs out of South Dakota. So I looked into what offerings they have for like the road department being able to log in through that, as well as biometric. I guess was one request for that stuff. The service they offer is $6 per user per month for the license for that. And then there's a one-time setup fee. That ranges quite a bit, they said. It's kind of based on what each department needs to accomplish and stuff like that. I think Social Services paid $1,500 for their setup and training. We can go through and get an official quote if we give them a detailed report of what they would want to accomplish with each department, as far as if you're tracking, what's your hour rate per, accrual, vacation time or sick leave, or how many of those rules you want to do and stuff like that.
It'll do the accruals, you mean?
Well, they said they have a lot of functionality as far as actually calculating that stuff then.
So do they calculate the payroll too?
They do offer that service as an add-on too.
Okay.
I guess we're just looking at just timekeeping, I guess. So that's where, when we're talking, David is a gentleman I work with there. Our setup fee would be pretty minimal because we're just doing time tracking in-out kind of functionality. Mark did call me last night and he had some questions about an idea, I guess, about, for the road department, they do billing for townships based on grading, so basically a job. So, we grader A, one for 1.5 hours, and they bill out to that township, from my understanding, I guess. And he was asking about if this software had the functionality to keep track of that.
GPS, you mean?
Well, it was more for not necessarily GPS, but just being able to have the operator log in and say job A for township, whatever, I started it, and then when you get done, you hit stop, and then that would be in the system as a job. And so that way, if there's multiple people working on it, I'm not sure if Wayne does like monthly billing or quarterly, how he does that, I guess, but I think Mark was saying right now everything's just done on card sheets or cards for timekeeping for the road department. So that's why he had a question about this, since we're looking into it as for just timekeeping for employees, if it had the additional functionality to do that to justify the cost, I guess. Then the biometric login software hardware they actually have, they start at $2,400 and go up to $4,000. That's their current systems they have. They are testing a system that's supposed to be around $1,000. It's just not in the system yet. They're hoping have that actually tested this month, and that's something we could add on if they don't have it available right away, if we move with it.
can add it when they actually do start offering it as a, because basically it's how much functionality and how much things we need to do with it. And if we're looking at just doing biometric thumbprint login, I would say wait off until we get that cheaper one to use that then.
$1,000 per user.
No, that's just a one-time piece of hardware. So if for the employees here in the courthouse, for them to log in, they would be able to log in with their thumbprint with a centralized machine somewhere. And then, so let's back up a little bit. The timekeeping software or the cloud application has 3 ways to log into it. Web portal, so you can log in through your computer and/or an app you have on your Android, iPhone, and/or a time clock piece of hardware, such as a biometric scanner or other types of scanners, such as RFID scanners, things like that. If you have badges and stuff like that, so
Can you have a combination?
yeah, you can have. So you can say like this user can log in via all 3 ways. This user can only log in via biometric, or this user can log in app and however you want to set that up for each one then. So, but I guess the question too for the road department, not certain how the best way to handle logging those gentlemen. And I think, well, I don't think all of them have smartphones. Mark brought that up last night. Is if they don't have all the smartphones, a dumb phone or a flip phone, the app doesn't work on it then. So how do we get those gentlemen logged in to the system if they don't have the ability to do it on their personal phone? Are we issuing them a tablet or a phone through the county to do that? Then we're adding additional cost to it, I guess. But
Well, all but 2 of them show up at the county shop every day, correct?
I think there's 4 of them. I heard 4 of them do not have smartphones. They have the flip phone.
Right, but I mean, Jeff sometimes shows up work in Binford, sometimes here and then.
But then, if we were looking at doing that job tracking,
Mhm.
then if we did put a tablet in each grader, each piece of equipment that had a data plan, then they would be able to log in with that through that system, I guess. So,
But
but we would have to add, the cost of a tablet and then the cost of a monthly data plan to that as well. So I'm not sure if that's of importance where we want to be spending that money, I guess.
I wonder if that function can't be done through John Deere.
If you can, I mean, but the times when they aren't running the blade, you wouldn't have track of the employee.
You wouldn't jump in the blade. that
No, I mean the
puts in.
job software, the job aspect of it.
Oh,
Because-
certainly, that's all capable of being done through John Deere.
Because they track like when the machine's running, when
Mhm.
the blade's down, and stuff like that.
And there's,
Can tell if it's in transport or if it's working. But
right,
Yeah.
We just haven't set it up on the map. since-
Okay.
yeah.
So must have a console in there too that they may be able to log in and do their.
Well,
well,
Watching
it
it
keeps
out for
track of
jobs, or-
jobs, if it's like the John Deere commercial equipment, you can put a job and how much time and it's all in there.
I don't know, and
We just
maybe,
haven't set it up yet.
right, maybe you can load each township in the county system in there and it'll keep track of what they're doing. I don't know.
Okay.
I
guess
don't know how
either.
sophisticated.
Like I said, Mark just asked me that
Right.
yesterday, so I wanted to bring it
But
up. So.
At the county shop, we could just put in a thumbprint reader. I mean, when they get there, they punch in.
Except for the 2 that don't come there, they
Right.
would have to have some other way of doing it.
Right, I don't know what kind of, well, if there's only 2 of them and they don't have smartphones, then we'll have to have a time card for 2 of them. I mean, it's just the way it is when you got remote locations.
Or require.
So why wouldn't we use their payroll software if we're gonna use their time card cloud?
I guess I haven't looked into why. I would assume just because it's not built into the accounting software here.
Ours isn't either, I think.
It's built in so that then it gets out of those right accounts and stuff like that, and out of the right budgets and all that stuff. It's all linked.
So like when you guys enter in for the employees, I'm assuming everything's done through electronic payment.
Mhm.
So you're not actually issuing a check. A physical
Well,
check.
there's a few that do get a check
Okay.
or whatever, but then then we get like a direct deposit slip of how much goes into each person or whatever. But it's done on a web based, and then all of a sudden, then we push it into Dakota programs that way.
Right.
Okay.
So they're not doing it in Dakota programs anyway. That's my point.
Dakota Programs is just basically just keeping track of your budget line item, what was in,
That's all that, they're populating the general ledger with those values
Yeah.
after they do the payroll with the
Okay.
payroll software. So is there a way to, why would you have 3 different pieces of software that you're trying to manage? Why wouldn't a guy just, because that payroll software typically is pretty inexpensive. I mean, it's,
Yeah, I guess I didn't look at the price, but I'm assuming it's just an add-on. You probably, pay another few more bucks per user to have the ability to do that. My guess on that.
right, because then you're all the
Because you're keeping your time and doing your pay out of there as well. too.
yeah, and the accruals are taken care of if there are any. And I mean,
Yeah.
it just seems, if I was doing it for myself, that's how I'd want to do it.
Okay.
No, I mean, QuickBooks offers everything you ever need for payroll software. You do it all over a phone.
Yeah. Are we paying for the payroll software right now that we're doing that web-based?
No,
one?
that's all through the Dakota programs. It's
Yes, we are paying for it.
one
It's part of the package.
Part of the package, I
Yep.
guess. And so it's just a question of, if depending on how much pay stubs or pay stubs charges for that additional service.
So is
if that's-
Dakota Programs an a la carte?
Hmm?
So we could drop that portion of it.
I guess I'm not sure.
It's one lump sum.
Then it's not a la carte.
Yeah, it's not on the card then. I just know we have a line item in for our team budget for that fee every month. I guess
Yeah.
I've never looked into it. I don't think we've ever changed it once since I've been here even.
Mm-mm.
So it's been.
Well, it sounds like it's terrible cumbersome. That's why we're doing payroll not the way the rest of the world does it. Otherwise,
But the payroll, it is a la carte. You can add other things to go to software, but the basic package includes payroll. There's other services you could add on to Dakota software. But what we're paying for with the basic package gets us the payroll, correct?
but
I don't
this-
know what.
But they
other
didn't.
things
They
add on,
didn't.
but-
They didn't write this payroll software. If it's a web-based product, they're remarketing it. I would guess. Don't you think? I mean,
I guess I've never even looked at it. I've never logged into it. So
what's
but,
it called?
Dakota programs.
Like when you go to the website, do you know what the URL is?
No. I don't think I have it on here.
Is it an Internet Explorer dashboard, or how do you get there?
Chrome.
Right.
Yep.
So you're going to through a browser. So I'm sure they're not writing that software.
Yeah, they must be having a.
They're more in that
partner with
40-year-old software realm. Dakota Programs, aren't they?
Yeah, because it's probably they're probably just have a partnership with another payroll company.
I'm guessing.
My guess too. I guess so, but I guess we can ask Kelly as far as if it is a la carte add-on, if we are paying for that functionality, what we are paying for it,
Right.
and that would offset the cost of if we want to go everything through.
That's what I mean. Wouldn't that make more sense?
Yeah, the if you get everything into one program, it's easier for who's ever working at the auditor's office to be able to, because the idea of it is the employees will keep track of their time. The department heads would okay it, sign off through via the software, and then that would go into the accounting department, and then the auditors would review and make a payment on it. Pay employees. So.
But it's still gotta get populated through Dakota programs so that it takes out of each budget.
Yeah. So.
What's that problem?
I think from Kelly's email that I got, what I'm understanding of that is if we had a print off of what was actually paid out, that would just be typed in manually. Then from what I think was understanding him, he was saying like you could write an integration with that, but the cost of it would probably be prohibitive. He was thinking as far as cost savings on it. I think I forwarded that email to everyone, didn't I? Okay. Then I
Well,
guess
you'll have to look, I mean, it's been a while since we looked at it, Ron and I looked at it. I think it would be easier to have the time clock print us out the time and enter that into Dakota programs. And because then Dakota programs on their software part, on their time card part of it would just do everything that needs to be done. And it would only be one entry, rather than entering all the different taxes and everything else.
Okay, yeah. So you would have employee A had worked 42
Right.
point whatever hours from
Yep.
that pay period.
That's what but I haven't looked at it now in 4 years.
Okay.
But I think that would be a lot less if we're gonna hand enter something, that would be a lot easier if we could just have a printout of the
Yeah, because
employees.
if you did it where pay stub was doing the payroll, then you would have to go through each
one,
account,
right.
like
That's correct.
each user, but what 2 or 3 accounts that each one came out of then. So
Right. And, you know, I mean, I was just playing with it on our payroll, and that's how I would do it if I had to do something else other than what we keep track of. I would just print out the,
Because from pay stubs, we would get the report for the employees' hours they worked and go down the row.
all you need is the hours and the
Yeah.
gross dollar, and Dakota Programs does the rest. I mean,
Yeah, if they're
you
doing the rest
update
right.
it gets updated every year for the federal taxes and, right,
Correct,
so
yeah.
it's able to do all that.
And it's all in there, so,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But we're not using it right.
No, we're not, but I mean, if, all we need is a time clock for is to just be able to print out the hours and punch it in.
The auditor
and
would
it's
just
done.
punch in the hour.
We'll have to
hours
start
worked.
using it, but we can, yeah.
So this is like what employees do or whatever, so I put in that, the total earnings number, and then, I mean, every deduction's in there, all that stuff's in there.
The only difference is that you're putting the total earnings, so it's treating it as a salaried employee. The change would be you'd put in for the non-salaried employees, you'd put in the hours and the total earnings, and it would do the same thing.
Yep, and I'm gonna
Not
start that.
you'd just put in there the hours of each, there's a vacation, sick leave, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And you would have them in there at a rate, and the software will calculate
Yep,
See,
their
it's,
paycheck.
the rate of the vacation and sick leave doesn't work for us because it's accrued by years of service, not by hours worked. That's how the employee manual is set up. Maddie gets 5 days a year for her first year of vacation and 1 day a month of sick leave. So and then it goes up your second year. So it's not accrued by hours worked. It's accrued by years of service.
you know, I
Doesn't matter.
don't think Troy was talking about keeping track of the amount of sick time. I think he was keeping
was.
track of the dollar amount that equates to,
Oh,
correct?
Well, the pay rate should be the same whether you're on vacation or sick leave.
Correct, yeah. You were talking about dollars, you weren't talking about.
Well, I
days.
mean, it would be nice if it would do the accruals too.
Yeah.
You would think the software would have the ability to accrue by hours worked or by what other matrix you used. I mean, we could change it.
Yeah, what she's saying is each employee accrues hours and sick leave at a different rate.
yeah.
It's not standardized.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of places aren't.
Yeah.
Most places, if the longer you've been there, the more
Right.
vacation you
But
are.
it should have the ability to do that.
But there should be a balance someplace.
Yep.
So if you're, how is it divvied out? Is it at the first of the year you get your 5 days or 10 or whatever? it is?
No, monthly. So every month, Maddie gets 3.13 hours of vacation at the end
Right.
of the
So
month.
the software should be able to do that.
I would think so.
But isn't it the other way around? Doesn't it have a balance and takes away from the balance, not add to the balance? Most of them have a take away from the balance as you
Well, you
use
accrue
it.
it,
If we
and then
put,
you use it.
there's in Dakota,
It should
If
go
you
both
don't
ways.
if you don't use it, it should keep accruing.
Right.
in Dakota, there's a place that I can say like, yep, they used 1 day of vacation this year, and it'll deduct that from there.
Same as-
From
Right,
the,
from the
Yeah.
total,
total.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So then it's very easy, then it's very easy to do that.
I think the software should be able to do all of those things.
Right.
Mhm.
All we need is the raw data to put into it.
And then, yeah, the space stubs timekeeping fits that bill then, so just
Okay.
in and out punching, and then you get the department heads sign off on it, and like auditor's office gets a report every 2 weeks for
So we
processing.
could use the time clock they have, or the software they have in social services?
Yeah, so that's the same software company I was looking into, try to keep everything the same,
And
just
then
for.
we just have to add the reader, thumbprint reader or something to it.
Yeah, so we can add just the $6 per user per month, and then they can log in with their computers if they so wish. Or if you want to use or the app or a biometric scanner. If you want
Why don't we talk to social service and see if they want the biometric scanner for theirs too, and we'll solve all this with one blow.
Yeah, because it would work for any of the employees that are on that system and would be able to log in through that thumbprint. So, and it's just a network device, so we would just plug it into our network here, and it would communicate with pay stubs and set up our users.
I think we should wait before we okay this, so Mark was here, he was kind of the one that was real interested in all this.
Yeah. So what other information do you need from
I get,
us?
yeah, so working with David, based on what we want to accomplish with this, and to my understanding, we just want to have our employees be able to do in and out for
Just looking
timekeeping.
for timesheets, right?
Yep, that should be very simple, so that he could give us an official quote on, the setup cost
Okay.
of that then, so.
Okay.
And I think Social Services paid $1,500 for their setup and training, they call it as well, so they set up a webinar for the employees to go through and show you how to log in, get, how to actually do your in-out and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
And then I guess the biometric scanner too, we could get this set up if they don't have that cheaper unit available yet, which I would recommend waiting for. I don't think
Right.
the $2,400 one, if all we're doing is just logging in and out, it can do much more than that, and we're not gonna utilize it, so I think
see.
we should wait for the cheaper model to be tested and approved on their system, and then purchase that one at the time, if you guys go with this system then, so.
Okay.
But they said it's pretty soon here, so at the time I get you a quote for the next meeting, for the setup cost, it may even have it already, so.
Okay.
We'll see. We might have that for it, but, so I'll work with David to get an official quote for them for setup cost, for the
Okay.
number of employees we need to do. I guess that's the question, like, how many employees would that be then?
Everybody.
Cause you'd be tracking, yeah, you wanna track the election officials as well, right? Just for.
If they want, we set it up for that, then
Okay.
it's, yeah. If they want.
Yeah, I don't think there's, like, we can just add as however many users we want at any time. I don't think there's any contractual obligation to say that if you order 10, you have to have 10 for a year, but.
You'll bring Mark up to speed then, between now and the next meeting?
Yeah, he asked me to email him if there's any questions or any that, cause he was asking about that job handling stuff
23?
too with it, I
Yeah.
guess, but.
Mhm.
That can be done. in-
That's that one.
Yeah, if it's done through the CAD software,
Yeah.
the John Deere software. my
Without the
apologies.
social services, no.
Why start mixing and matching stuff and, but,
I think it's gonna be 23 roughly
okay.
users. In addition to the social services.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess we wouldn't have anything different between departments as far as being able to it's just logging in, logging out, and we're not tracking any other metrics, so I think it should be a fairly simple set of costs for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they have, they'll do a custom landing page for you. Social Services has their own one that has their name branded on it, so we would set up our Griggs County one, generic one,
Okay.
for everybody else then, so.
Okay.
Alright, any other questions?
I think so.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Did you have any trouble in that server room this winter?
No, we have that fan going.
That works?
It worked, yeah, it got a little bit warmer, but not to a degree where I was too worried about it. I think we got really cold, we had the system shut down a few times, but the biggest thing too is trying to make sure the hallway heater isn't always left on, because that overheats the hallway, and that's where we're pulling air from. So I'm bringing hot air into the server room, and so I was trying to shut that off every once in a while when I come through, just try to keep a little cool air
Sure.
coming in.
I mean,
through it,
nobody
so.
sits out there anyway. Right?
Yeah, it's just it doesn't need to be that warm if you're just a passing through kind of thing.
Right.
So, but-
Okay. Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, guys.
David.
Yeah. Well, I talked a little bit earlier here with Dale. I just wanted to hear from the commission. Sam let me know there'd be some changes on how payroll's done. So I heard her, how she explained kind of what she thinks the changes are. And I just wanted to talk through with the commission kind of what changes you're proposing and what kind of what the reasoning behind it is.
As far as the changes, we are going to start April 1st. We will be putting the hours worked in
Okay.
the system.
Okay.
we're getting rid of all the salary, like
Okay.
whatever.
Thank
So
you.
all that's going in there.
Okay.
So
What difference does it make to you?
So for the most, where I'm at right now, I write in my hours on my pay sheet. Because we've had a salaried amount, we've set it up as the same payment for the 24 pay periods. For most times 60%, so if there's, most part I stick to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If there's a couple weeks where I work less than 60%, then the following week I'll make it up to more than 60%. So if it averages out about roughly the same, but kind of where it comes to changes is it comes across as I'm coming all of a sudden becoming salaried, that I'm going to be paid according to what hourly rate it is. And as I was trying to talk with Dale here, because I'm at 60% right now. I have my fixed set amount for pay. If it takes a couple extra hours than 60%, I'm happy to put those in.
Yeah.
But whereas if we're switching to the payroll period where I'm only going to be paid for the exact hours that I work in a 15-day period, what happens if I get to a situation, I mean, I understand if I work less than 60%, then I wouldn't be paid that, but what if we get to a situation in December where I'm working more than 60%? Whereas if I was in the past where it's been salaried and there's been
Right.
a fixed amount, I'm happy to put in a few extra hours, but if it's demanding every single, do I try and hit 60% on the dot, December 31st?
Right.
Or I mean, December's a busy time of year, especially if there's changes with farm residence exemption, all those applications.
Yep.
If I'm at
So
60% time, do I just shut my offices and say,
right. So I mean that's a good question. So maybe, and I've always felt that it probably wasn't the right thing to do, but maybe like at the state level they have comp time. So maybe we should implement, I mean, I think there was a time when the county did that and we got rid of it because we didn't think it was right. But the state does it and has been doing it forever, so maybe it has a place. I don't know. Is that what you're getting at, kind of?
I mean,
Because then if you had some hours banked, you would always put the same number of hours in.
yeah. But sometimes, like say, like December is a busy time of year, I put in.
So then you bank some hours. And then if
And
you're
for the-
gonna go haying and you didn't have anybody to see, you could be
Yeah.
gone and you'd still get paid.
Yeah, but where it works for me right now, it's a simple system. It's the same pay every 2 weeks, and
But you accrue too, right?
accrue what?
Vacation and sick leave and.
Yeah,
all that
I keep
stuff.
track of that. I write that on every pay sheet. I keep track of my hours. I keep track of vacation hours, sick leave hours. I just don't really understand. For me, it's simplest the way it is, being paid the same amount every 2 weeks. I'm fine putting in some extra hours without charging it for it, but it just comes across as like I said today, it kind of comes across as micromanaging on what exactly my hours are, and you guys are my bosses. I feel like there's a level of trust between us.
Sure.
It comes across as wanting to know every little thing that's going on.
Well, I don't think it's that. I think it's more a fact of trying to make one size fit all. And so you probably, the employees that work part-time, so to speak, 60% probably, and seasonally, probably have a harder time falling into this system. So there's two ways to do it. One is the comp time. The other is just to make him a 60% salaried position.
That's an option.
You could still punch the time clock as you do now, just as a verification that, yes, here's the hours being worked, here's what's being done, nothing would change, and you would still receive the same paycheck every 2 week period.
If it turns out a situation where I'm trying to think ahead towards November, December here. I'm gonna be keeping track of my hours, and if I'm at 60%. But if we get to a situation where we're in December and I've reached my hourly threshold of 60%, do you want me to close, and either the alternative is when I close my offices and don't,
No,
Are open for the-
what do you do now?
what?
What do you do now?
I put in my time.
Right, same thing. The only thing keeping track of your time would be, instead of writing it on a time card, it would be a time clock keeping track of it. It would be no difference.
What he's saying is you would still be on like the salary.
still
You
be
would
on the
just be
salary.
doing exactly like you are now. It would be the same pay every.
Instead of a manual writing of it, it's.
What we're trying to do is not so much keep track of the time the employees are putting in, but the time they're putting in, put it into an accounting system that can more easily write the checks, keep track of all the deductions, make life simpler. So it would be exactly the same as you're doing now, and instead of writing a 8 in your time card, you would just put your thumb down and it would put that 8 in there for you. It'd be a salaried position.
So there's like, but say there's a situation where I've worked less than 60%, or I've worked more than 60% in a 2-week time. Am I still paid the same, or is
Sure.
it going to be variable?
If you're on salary.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be any different than right now.
Salaried positions typically are salaried because people are expected to work more than the posted hours, not so they can work less.
Yeah, I mean, you do,
I've-
do the work that's required.
Right.
Right.
I've been salaried most of my career, and that's the premise behind a salaried position, and that's why I've always been of the opinion that most of the time in my dealings with employees, it's more of the management level employees that are salaried, not the rank and file. Because if you're, for instance, our linemen, if they work more than 40 hours, they got paid overtime for it. But if I worked on the weekend, I didn't. Or if I had to go to something at night or whatever, that's. But if I went to the dentist, I probably didn't put it down on my timesheet either. So that's.
It's kind of a contradiction anyway that we have a 60% hourly position, because the hourly position is, you get paid for the hours you work, and if you work 60%, that's what you get paid for. So
Right.
that's kind of a misnomer anyway. So I would be fine. I'd certainly trust Davida. I would be fine keeping it the way it is. By putting your thumbprint on a time clock, all you're doing is letting the computer then, you'd be entered as a salaried employee, and the computer would say, yep, he's a salaried employee. We don't care how many hours he works. There's a paycheck.
I mean, if it makes things simpler and more efficient, I'm all for that. If it, from my perspective of how.
Well, and the
I
other thing
work-
that it'll do, if you're working more hours than what we're paying you for, then we should talk about it.
But
Or,
we don't look at his time. We don't look at his time cards now. I don't see any reason why we would look at them
right.
after you're doing a time clock.
I mean, the way, just from my office and
He
how.
isn't logging all his hours if he puts in extra. Is
Yeah.
that the case?
Yeah, I write in hours.
If he works 3 hours that day, he'll put 3 hours down. I mean, I get.
I mean, just the way, like, in the way I record my time, my interactions for payroll, I don't see anything broke with the current system, so, I mean, I don't see the added, if it makes things simpler, more efficient for time clocks, go for it. If it's something that's an added expense that fixes the problem that I don't think exists, then I don't really see it.
Well, we can't run two payroll systems. So either everybody's got to be on it or no one's got to be on it. And it's leaning towards having a time clock, so it can be done where you can still receive the same pay, be on a salary, but you'll have to punch a time clock.
Okay.
That's the portal
Yeah.
to get a paycheck, is the time clock.
Well, and
It's entry into the system.
yeah.
I mean, Samantha will do the same thing. Maybe she will, I don't know if she will. She'll punch a time clock and her hours, we won't ever look at her hours. She'll punch a time clock and she'll be a salaried employee and she'll get the same paycheck.
And we don't really know what, we're not looking in your window. And you would do assessing for what, 6 townships?
Yeah. 7. 7.
7?
Those are during my Tuesday, Thursdays. They're not on county time.
Right.
So, yeah.
But I mean, so do you do it here?
What?
Do you do it here?
So like sometimes some nights I've come over, like before the deadline here,
Yeah.
from 7 to 10 o'clock at night. Do a mix there and at my home. Yeah.
Sure, okay. I mean, it would make sense to do it here.
Yeah.
If-
I have,
You
well,
have
everything's
a-
on a flash drive and it goes back and forth between my laptop there,
Sure,
laptop here. If someone has questions about their assessment, and it's a local assessor question, I mean, I'm not gonna turn them away and say, I can't answer it at the courthouse.
right.
Um,
No, I hope not.
But no, those are, the way that we worked it out, those are separate.
Sure.
Try to do as much as I can to separate them.
We're not looking over your shoulder now, we don't intend to look over
Well,
your shoulder later.
Not gonna start.
No.
Well, and I'll just state for the record, I hadn't seen anything as broken. Having the time clocks comes across as peering through the window and how we're doing things. That if that's a change you guys want to make, that's fine, your prerogative. But it comes across as peering through my window, and wondering what we're doing. So just want to state.
I got
state
bigger
that.
things to do than peek in your window.
Well, then I guess, well,
That doesn't even sound like it's legal.
so I mean, and then, I don't know what it costs for time clocks, but whatever that extra,
Well, social services already bought the software.
that's all I have. Just wanted to talk it out.
Okay, thanks.
Let you guys know how I feel.
All right.
Thank you.
Budget calendar, Samantha.
I brought you guys this last year. Just changed the dates to match this year, so you should be good. If you guys if you thought last year's calendar kind of worked out really well, I thought it did. We'll just go with that. I'm still waiting on.
May already we start.
I don't know.
Yeah, we have to
Still waiting
on Harold to come and do.
Nope, I think-
He stopped in on Tuesday and got some information from me, but he hasn't came in. Like he's kind of been busy and it hasn't been working out where he's come in and done it yet. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get that so that then I can start inputting my numbers into the budget, kind of get it ready. But that's kind of my hold up right now is I don't have this sheet to kind of get the numbers going
We don't
here.
even have,
Huh?
we don't even have balances from the end of the year yet, right?
That's what I'm kind of
Not
waiting
audited
for
ones,
is I
yeah.
need those. I mean, I can use my own
Right.
and do that, but I like to have his so that then we're all on the same page and I've used the same information every single year. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. But as of right now, this seems like the right way to go if you guys are all right with that.
Any ideas on enforcement?
No. I'll let you do that.
No, we left it up to you.
No.
Well, toughen up.
So if this is good,
Some ideas.
Yeah.
I want some ideas.
You were here for the discussion with KLJ, it's the same thing. We hire you, and the
Oh,
city's
dear.
people hired you to do this, and we hired him
Don't
to
do that to me.
We'll back you up.
The old vendor squeeze.
Yeah. We'll be right behind you. A long way behind you. No, we'll help out. Just use the the same threats you used before, only more vigilant.
Department heads did pretty well last
Yep.
year, but it's some of the, actually.
What we need to work on a little bit more is so everybody's under the same format.
Yeah.
That would be nicer if they're under the same format.
Yep. It's those outside entities that
Yeah,
it
and
gets
the
kind of.
dollars carried forward is pretty essential, not that we use that, but it's pretty essential to see whether or not they use their budget.
Yep. So if you guys are all right with that, I don't think I need a motion or anything. We'll just go ahead with that.
So,
Nope.
county agent. Sean?
Okay, you can see there's an email there. Talked to Kim this week. She has actually found somebody that would work part-time to finish out the 4-H for the year. So that's in the short-term plan there. I think she figured like 410 hours, something like that. Where was it?
That'd be
Then
for
I think then the
like a
long-
year or something?
Pardon?
Like a year, is that?
No,
Just through the fair would take
14
about,
weeks.
would take about 410 hours. So she got 20 hours a week for 13 weeks prior to the fair, 90 hours the week of the fair, and then 2 weeks after. Oh, there it is, for a total of 410 hours at $35 an hour.
Yep.
She spoke pretty highly of this gal. She was actually kind of surprised to find somebody that would be willing to do that part-time, short-term, so I guess she kind of did what we asked her to do.
Well, if you go on in there, she really did what we asked her to do.
Pardon?
If you go on through this, she did what she asked us to do. If you go to page 27.
Yep. And then there's a long-term, this is just a proposal, the long-term plan is.
And there's 4 different scenarios.
Yep.
Number 1 appears is what we wanted. 40%
40%.
agent for a year as a pilot program.
Yep.
And then if,
And the other ones were joining with another county or, and then joining with another county with heavier, more on our
Yeah.
4-H end.
so then if you go on number 1 there and it's A, B, C to the H down in the bottom, below it,
Right,
the services that wouldn't be provided.
right.
I think the services that will need to provide are A, B, and F. I think the rest of them can be done elsewhere, but
A and B kind of roll together.
correct.
Basically.
Yeah. And there are sites, we can go to surrounding counties, or maybe we can get one of the counties to come here and put it on, or maybe NSU come here and
I
put it
know,
on.
like, Jamestown has their egg show,
Yeah.
they put it on there. A lot of these egg shows do it at the same time,
Mhm.
have their pesticides.
Who does it?
NDSU.
Yeah,
Oh, the county agent or?
Well, the county agent does it in the county sometimes, but NDSU puts on
at
shows.
some of these egg shows, they.
Regional stuff?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
So then why do we do it at the county level?
as a
then?
service,
Yeah,
so that they couldn't get there. But NDSU puts on 8 or 9 of them throughout the
I
state.
think so.
Oh.
I know Jamestown has theirs like in February,
Yeah.
and they have their pesticide recertification, right? That's one thing you can go do while you're at the show, or.
And it's not their county agent, it's somebody else.
I
No,
think so.
You guys were just discussing like the dicamba certification, you can do it online.
Yeah.
right.
Which you have to do a written test for if you go to the meeting, you
Yep.
just sit through the meeting and that's.
Oh, presence passes you there.
You have to sign in and out so you don't escape after you sign.
But I'm sure they could help us out with, what?
Well, we can work on all those things later.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you see, they even did this one better than what we wanted. We were willing to pay for the 4-H representative. They're still willing to do, now NBC says they'll do it in a 60-40 split. So all hope was not lost.
No,
So I guess I was pretty happy to see her come
was
up with
too.
that.
I think we should take them up on their offer before they rethink it.
is that a motion?
I I make a motion that we adopt NDSU's offer of a 40%
The
4-H agents.
related, no,
The short-term plan?
Short and long term,
Okay,
yeah.
option number one,
I better back up then. I make a motion that we,
because we have a memorandum here to sign if we're gonna take the
the long term one.
short-term one. This is April through July. Maybe we should just do that. Let's
Okay, do
consider
one
that.
then. Go ahead, somebody.
I move we adopt the short-term plan to cover the 4-H fair duties for the county.
For 2019. Okay, it's been moved by Dale that we accept this memorandum of understanding between Griggs County and NDSU related to the 4-H youth development short-term plan, April through July 2019. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion?
Which page are you on? I'm sorry.
20, 31, 32, 33.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John? Dale?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Oh, you want this?
I have it in here, sorry.
Okay. And now they have longer term options in here as well. There's options 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then they're asking if we have any more ideas.
I would make a motion that we adopt option 1 of the long-term arrangement.
It's been moved by John that we adopt option 1 of the long-term options that have been presented by NDSU Extension. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Seconded by Sean. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
And then as a sideline to that, now we don't have a weed officer. Jamie's not here. I think.
I couldn't find that either.
I would like to explore the options of just doing away with the weed officer.
If you go into the Century Code and look under the weed officer, it's all been repealed. I don't know where it went. If it's someplace else now, I can't find it.
Do you want me to
It
look into
must be
it?
something
Call
tied,
the
you know, we
state,
have to
somebody at the
maintain.
Call
certain
somebody at
balance
the
in
North
that
Dakota
fund.
Association.
Right.
I haven't tried to call out there because I know that the legislature's in session and those guys are kind of busy right now.
Okay.
But they should be getting done here in the next couple of weeks.
And even if the car share thing goes with it, it hardly gets utilized.
That's the
anyway.
thing is it's that
That
program.
light heap or
No, lap and-
It's lap and tag that
Tag.
that's what the weed officer
tied
was.
to that, yes.
Yeah.
Right, now
But the utilization of it's been minimal.
does the county get their chemical for spraying the weeds through lap and tag? If they don't, we have to buy that.
Right. Yeah.
Right,
It's
so
This
just
is just the
handle.
farmers.
Right.
You know, and we get one application a year maybe.
We actually didn't utilize the funds in all the years, so they actually took some, or
They took them back.
They took some-
Or allocated less the next
Yeah,
year, I think
yep.
is what it
They
was.
gave us the claw back.
yeah.
Which
So-
is only right. If you don't use it, why should they keep giving it?
Right, and so if we don't, so we're paying in essence $6,000 to not use it because we have to hire a weed officer, so I don't know if that's right or not.
Well, it's such an insignificant cost. If I go buy some spray to spray the weeds in my right of way, I don't come and get reimbursed.
No,
You know, I'm a,
Well, you can't spray the right of way weeds with
no, it's
Huh?
private land. It's all-
oh, it's all private land.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
And it's underutilized as a population, and it's overutilized as individuals. I mean, so we're just benefiting just a few people by doing that.
Right,
Just because I don't think people know about it.
right.
And we put it in the paper every year and for
Still
multiple weeks.
doesn't get used.
So I'd
Yeah.
really like to send that position to the dust bin. If possible, I don't know if it's possible.
Well, we'll find out.
it. No, and it's never been very active in this county. Barnes County has a weed officer,
Yeah.
and they're full-time and they run a crew and
Yeah.
they're beating the bushes looking for stuff.
You know, our last weed officer, he resigned because he felt guilty for collecting his salary. And, so, I mean.
And then he
very,
blocked the
very,
culvert.
very honest of him, but it kind of tells you the need for it. You know?
I know, Barnes County pulled some gravel or product out of a pit west of me, and they sent their weed officer to check what they're getting for noxious weeds before they rolled it out.
He's good.
Is that McCandless?
McAllister.
Or McAllister.
And then on the way out of there, he found some spotted knapweed on Meyerland.
Oh, yeah.
Just because these trucks that come in and out from out of state.
So it's just like what you need, is he in charge of collecting the carbon tax too?
They
Sam,
ran
you gotta
straight
tell
through
Kim
the,
then?
Yeah, I can, yeah, absolutely.
And she can get in.
they came out and sprayed the
Absolutely.
knapweed flaming.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
Whether she's part of the Highwayman Angus.
Old courthouse, new courthouse.
I have something on that if I may. Brian and Deb, they go on vacation and they're not sick, or they don't go on vacation very often, but it's been a little bit more lately since grandbabies are here and stuff like that. And then some of the work goes undone while they're gone. I did speak with her about myself and my husband helping them out when they are gone. Just filling in and stuff like that. A little extra income for us would be nice, and then then the work would get done while they're gone. She was okay with this as long as you guys were.
So their hours would decrease then, or how's our arrangement set up with those guys?
Well, I don't know. Right now, like I told you before, we're putting the hours in the system. We're getting rid of all those. So I did delay that to them too, so that I would be needing their hours. So
Right.
they're under,
Because the janitorial services don't have any accruals or anything like that, do they, or what?
Yep, they are.
So they accrue sick leave and
Just
vacation?
Yep.
one. They're a combination of them equals one person. Right?
One full-time person, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So they've got vacation time coming then.
Yep.
Then the question is, do we want to spend a little more money to get the vacuuming done while they're on vacation?
Or instead of hiring out for Jerry and the snow removal and stuff like that, my husband can come over and do the snow removal and stuff like that while they're gone.
Oh, I see.
Or if anything else happens or anything like that, or taking out the garbage and all that stuff, we would take care of that if you guys are in favor of that. Beside,
I don't see any problem with it. We were gonna hire someone else to do it anyway. But we
She's
may as well-
salaried, and you gotta put 60 hours a week and
Yeah.
do whatever.
If the sidewalk's not shoveled, you have to shovel it.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna amount to a lot of extra time.
Right.
So
no,
it-
they don't take vacation very often, but
I imagine it's just a long weekend, more than likely, but.
They got
Yeah.
2 or 3 in Bismarck now, grandkids.
2.
2.
Yep.
So what do you need from us?
Well, if you guys are okay with that, I would like a motion for that, and with that I would like Adam to be put on the payroll as a seasonal, so that he's covered under workers' comp if anything does happen.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be covered. You have to be under the payroll to be covered for that.
Seems reasonable. I'd make a motion that we allow Adam to be on the payroll for a temporary fill-in for the custodials.
It's been moved by Sean that Adam and Samantha fill in for the custodians when they're on vacation. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Any
Might
discussion?
have to upgrade, might have to update your position to in, for workman's comp, because right now you're probably covered under secretarial.
You're right, yep. Yep, that's a good point.
And then they'll want an estimate of hours, I suppose. But it's gonna be
Minimal.
60 hours a year, so.
You're just gonna watch them anyway, aren't you?
You're right.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Sean?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Falling around to the spot.
Got the white gloves on. Any other new courthouse, old courthouse? Future business?
Do we need to keep on Harold?
Harold's coming next week.
To our meeting?
No,
Oh,
you don't have a meeting next week.
He's gonna come and do that, perform the audit. Okay,
uh-oh.
super.
Oh, he already scheduled the time to do.
Hmm
Okay.
We've scheduled every week, so
Okay.
Oh, he just, tomorrow never comes? Okay.
we're getting there.
Next week?
There's a song in there somewhere.
Next
Hoping to
week?
see him Monday.
Oh, it's not next week. It's next week.
What is it? A couple weeks that he's usually here?
Oh, I-
He's
Or he just
u-
does bits and pieces, doesn't he?
he's usually here like a few days, and then he does some of it back
He
in
runs
his.
to a school or to a city.
Yeah. I send him a bunch of reports, and he kind of does.
Good.
That's how special we are.
So special.
Okay, anything else?
Will we adjourn?
Been moved by Sean, we adjourn. Is there a second? Second by Dale, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, meeting adjourned at 4:35 PM on April 5th, 2019. The next regular meeting will be April 26th at 2:30 PM in this room.